To have you here. This is week 9 of our Reinvent to Rise episodes. And I am so thankful for all the feedback, people sharing their thoughts and comments about these sessions, because without your feedback, we won't know whether you're actually watching, whether you're benefiting from them. So thank you for sending those in. For those of you who have not subscribed to this channel, I know we have dual activity on our channel, and it's with intention. We have technical content, and we also have these soft skills and mindset sessions here at Brave Achievers. So if you haven't subscribed, click that button now. And without further ado, I want to go into what we are going to be talking about today: channeling creativity and adaptability. As I share my screen, I want you to think to yourself, when last have you created something out of nothing? Yeah, sounds like a trick question, right? But it's not. Believe me, it's not. It's not a trick question. I just want you to think about it. When last did you create something out of nothing? And many of us sometimes will think, well, how can you create something out of nothing? You can. You can. And I'll get to that in a bit. Creativity and adaptability aren't luxuries, my friends. They are how we move forward when the map runs out. In this day and season, creativity and adaptability is something we cannot say is optional. We have to recognize the part it plays in our life and destinies. In this session, you walk away with clarity on your creative power, tools to stay flexible without breaking, and a fresh vision to who you can become using creativity and adaptability. So, I want us to do a quick soul exercise. If I had no fear, what would I create? Think about that for a minute. If I had no fear, what would I create? Fear is the greatest creativity blocker. This question bypasses fear and unlocks your purest vision. And when you think about it, you can now ask yourself, what is one small step I can take toward that today? What's the one step you can take? Meaning, you've got to put the fear aside and then take a step. Invite yourself mentally to occupy that space where you do not need to be fearless to move. You just need to decide. A lot of us let fear hold us down. But don't let it. Just for 1 minute, allow yourself to let movement and motion be the priority versus the fear that you are carrying. Believe it or not, you have a dual power within. You've got creativity and you've got adaptability. Creativity, which is your power to imagine the new, and adaptivity, which is your power to become it. It is your power to become it. Think about this for a minute. These two things I have just mentioned are not skills, they are your superpowers. The ability to create is not a skill. It's a superpower that you develop. my friends. If you think of it as a skill, you're going to be thinking of it as I have to acquire another certification, I have to acquire another knowledge piece in order to participate in this. But hey, you were created with it. And my friends, it's really a lack of talent. It's usually the internal voice that stops us from recognizing that we have these powers. It's really important. I want you to bear that in mind as we go forward. I want to share this three-part framework with you. And it's understanding that if you use this three-part framework, you will see a huge shift. Observe, create, and adapt. With observation, you have to start with awareness. Okay, what is needed? What is shifting? What is not working? 3 years ago, I made some specific and intentional life changes. And at the time, I looked like I was bonkers to everybody that knew about it. But what I noticed was that very few people even cared to ask me, is there anything you observed that made you make this decision? And the answer I would have given them is, look all around you at the world we're in today. There is an inflection point round the corner. Ability to observe is one of the most powerful inherent abilities that we have within us, but we have to exercise that muscle, my people. You start by observing light things. You can exercise that muscle, and gradually you begin to be so observant that you almost do it in automation. That is, your brain is noticing things even when you're not consciously observing. Then let's talk about the create part of this framework. Instead of reacting and responding to situations and circumstances with fear or departure, think about responding with imagination and solving situations with vision. For those of you who are not aware of design thinking, it is actually a powerful framework. I remember I've shared this, I think, a couple of times when a family member of mine was dealing with shyness. And I said, okay, you know what? Let us try and use this framework. Frameworks are not necessarily in control of you. You have the ability and the power to work on them, work with them, pardon me. And after you have seen that situation and you respond with imagination, it's critical to solve with vision. Vision is something that it's almost I don't want to use the word vision is lacking in our era, but we have got to be careful to protect it. We have got to be careful that we protect our ability to envision things. Especially in this modern day of technology, we have to protect that. And then lastly, you need to adapt. Don't stay stuck with old methods. Your ideas evolve as your environment changes. Let those ideas evolve. Because those who win in seasons of change aren't just smart, they're creatively adaptive. That's the word, creatively adaptive, adaptive, adaptive. And for some of you, you might wonder, why does she keep on emphasizing? Because I need that emphasis to connect with your mind. If you listen to this session and you don't take anything away from it, these two words, adapt and create, are critical. But the foundation of it is observation. Observe. How adaptive thinkers move. They ask, what else could this mean? And that's a very important piece. They ask, what else could this mean? What other way could I look at this? What other way could this be translated? I remember just before this call talking with somebody on our team about imagery. And I was saying that when you use images, it's critical to also remember that this image, even though it looks wonderful to me, what else could it mean? And that way, you're careful to observe and think about what things could be. Now, that is a restrictive example I gave you. The other way to think about things is something is not going the way you expected it to. Something is not going how you planned it. The world is changing around you. What else could this mean? Could this be an opportunity for you to go to another level or to solve a problem that would make a difference in the trajectory of mankind? Those who are adaptive, they try fast, they fail small, and they learn quicker. If you try something out and then you quickly put it into the hands of people for a test, or you quickly share it with people to use without investing billions, you learn more quickly. For those of you who are in the field of product development, you know what I'm talking about. Agile. Be agile in how you move. And be quick to change direction, not from fear, but for freedom. Know that you are free to change direction. You really, honestly have that freedom. So let's talk about what blocks creativity and adaptability. This is a topic I really, really like. What are the blockers? Because a lot of the time, if you're a writer, for those of us who have written here and there, if you are a part-time writer, like some of us who are just part-timers, and then, or if you are a full-time writer, you've launched thousands of books and what have you, those who have done that will tell you that creative blocks is real, right? It can happen. And if you're someone that is in the field of design of any form, you actually understand that that's very possible. But if you're someone that's never created anything and you're watching this, hey, two things. Creativity is everywhere, in you, around you, and you can have amazing sessions, just amazing series, amazing months, just producing, and your creative juices are flowing. But then there could be times when your creativity is blocked, even your adaptability. And on my screen, you see that there are three things I want you to be aware of, friend. Fear of being wrong. That is one of the biggest things that holds us down. Fear of being wrong. So what if I'm wrong? What if what I do is wrong? But we live in a world where every awesome thing we see was a product of several failures. So why be afraid of being wrong? And being attached to this is how it's always been. Okay, my chair is always on the left hand side of the room. It doesn't move. It never happens. Hey, you know, try and move that chair today. Just move it a little bit and see whether the ceiling falls down. How it's always been can be a blocker in our minds. When you start thinking, well, this is how it's always been, this is how I have always been, maybe you would want to ask yourself the question, but what if I made just this slight change? What could happen? And then waiting to have perfect clarity before moving is another one. You want, and this happens to me sometimes, and I have mindset questions I always ask myself when that happens. If I have to have 100% clarity that this move is going to be the perfect move, will I ever move? Sometimes the answer is no. And this is where you've got to trust in something. For those of you who don't, I strongly recommend it. You can trust in God or you can trust in something else. But either way, your trust has to be anchored. When your trust is anchored, then you do not need 100% clarity. You just need to know enough to get yourself moving. The worst enemy of creativity is self-doubt. That's Sylvia's quote. I love this quote because anytime I remember it, it just helps me to shift self-doubt to one side. If I want to be creative, I have to not doubt myself. If you want to be creative, you have to not doubt yourself. One of the biggest products I ever was involved in creating was a product of overcoming self-doubt. I thought to myself, this is huge. And I have an entire organization looking to me to come up with an answer and build this product and design what this experience would be. At first, I thought, well, nobody has done it the way I want to do it. And I had a minute of self-doubt. Pamela, no, nobody's ever done it. And there are thousands of people in this organization. At that time, there were over 15,000 people. What makes you think you can solve this problem? And in that moment, I realized I needed to trust. And I put my trust in God and quenched that self doubt. And I said, I will go forward. And what's the worst that could happen? Today, that product has over 1.5 million people using it. Get rid of the self doubt. Protecting your creative space. These things I want to share with you. You have to think about this from the perspective of recognizing that you as a human being respond and react to your environment. Okay. So noisy environment is so powerful at killing ideas. And I'm not talking about the mall, a noisy mall, or you being at a theme park. That's not the sort of noise I'm talking about. You can be at a theme park, you can be at the mall and have the most ingenious idea come into your mind, and you will create. So when I say noisy environments, I'm talking about being in a space where there's a lot of noise here in your mind, a lot of noise here, just in between here. When you have a lot of that, it is very hard to exercise your creative juices. Physical noise still can be a hazard. But then why do you think some of the biggest and best products have been created in a studio with music blaring all day? So you can have noise around you and still be creative. But mental noise will not let you be creative. So they're two different things. I just want to make sure we call that out. Creativity needs margin, time, calm. It needs margin, time, calm, and room to think, right? So when you are in that space where an idea is seated inside of you, a thought of a concept is seated inside of you, that's not the moment to start making a lot of noise about it. Sometimes you just need to give yourself a little, very little time to think about it and allow your juices to flow, your creative juices to flow. And then you can begin the conversations. Design your day so that you have opportunities for creative idea flow. When you get that silence and time and calm and room to think, and you begin to want to explore and build, you don't necessarily need as much silence at that time. Your challenge, okay? Your challenge today is make your ideas actionable. Choose a problem you're stuck on. Take a 3-minute break today. Observe, sketch, and rethink. Just one of your challenges. Doesn't matter what it is. Ask, what other lens is there that I can use to see this? Remember, different lenses, okay? And then try something really small today. Doesn't matter what it is. Just try. And share your results and reflect on it. Remember, you are creative. You are created creative, but you want to begin to pump that muscle and grow that muscle to create even more. There's a resource I want to leave you with today. It's Think Again by Adam Grant. Okay. It's a powerful call to rethink the way we think. I hope you get the copy of the book. It's a really powerful book. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. This is my favorite quote from Maya. You see, you can't use it up. You just remember that. You can't exhaust creativity. And once you recognize that, you pull more out of yourself because you let yourself know that the last creative exercise you did, the last creative thing you made or put out there can still be subject to even more creativity. Next steps, join us at our 90-day challenge if you haven't already. We do that every working day, Monday to Friday, for 90 days, where we just come together and do something for 30 minutes towards our individual destinies. You find out more about it with the links below, or you can just simply join our Reinvent to Rise community. I hope you have learned something today, my friend, because I have had a wonderful time sharing with you about ways to tap into your creativity. And that said, until